Hey, what's going on, guys? Mr. Matt here. Welcome to Teen Talk. Today, we're talking about how we can counter hate speech online. Uh, in the 21st century, we live in such a digital world. Our news, our entertainment, our social interaction, the majority of it takes place online. And unfortunately, that does open us up to experiencing a lot of hate speech, xenophobia, extremism on various social media platforms. Now, when people think of hate speech online, I think many of us will first think of a platform like Twitter. Twitter allows you to kind of say whatever you want. There are some limitations and some things that they will ban, but you have a lot of latitude on Twitter, and people take advantage of that. And it's a place where you can find a lot of extremist, xenophobic comments, beliefs, theories, as well as quite a lot of hate speech. Another platform that we find it a lot is on Instagram. People post their pictures, videos, and in the comment section, it can get pretty ugly when people want to go down the path of spewing extremism, hate speech, etc. So those are two platforms that quickly come to mind. What might be interesting for you guys is actually one of the biggest platforms that spreads extremism, hate speech, xenophobia is actually YouTube. There was an interesting study that a reporter did that we highlighted on our Teen Talk segment that I hope you guys tune in to check out, where what the reporter did is she went and watched videos of speeches from Senator Bernie Sanders, who is a progressive senator, farther to the left, center. He's quite far to the left in a lot of his views, beliefs. What she noticed is watching his videos, YouTube has autoplay. When it would end and another one would start, very quickly it went from watching Bernie Sanders' political speeches to fairly left wing extremist ideologies and videos promoting that extremism. When she went and watched videos of Donald Trump speeches, the YouTube autoplay function drove her towards far right wing and white supremacist videos. Now, I'm not going to get into the politics of the two. What's interesting, though, is YouTube's platform. How many of us, before I go further, I think we're all guilty of we go on YouTube to watch one video or look up something, and a half hour, an hour, 2 hours later, we're still sitting there. We've gone down the rabbit hole a bit. I did this a couple weeks ago when I was looking for a video for you guys. It was a news story about a large alligator that crossed a golf course in Alabama. I can openly admit I spent about 45 minutes the night before looking at videos, learning about alligators, looking at prehistoric alligators, and I went down the rabbit hole quite far on that one. We've all done this, right? And that autoplay function means your video ends. If you're distracted, you're looking around, the next one just plays. Even if you're paying attention. You look at it, the title looks interesting, it just keeps going. Parents have commented on how they put on a video for their kids about the moon landing, and 20 minutes later their kids are telling them how it's faked, and they just watched the video about a conspiracy theory that showed it was a hoax, and they've gone down the rabbit hole. YouTube's algorithm actually is set to push you towards more extremist content. And the reason for this is it's engaging, and they feel that they're going to keep you on their platform longer if you're seeing some of these views that you might find to be crazy and ridiculous and, oh, this is nonsense, or you might find yourself saying, oh, wow, they make a really good point. The point is you're staying engaged, you're watching their ads, which drives up their revenue, but they're actually forcing you from sort of where you're at. This is the video you're trying to watch. They're forcing you out to the extremes, right? So what do we do about this? We've got popular platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter that are rampant, quite frankly, with hate speech, xenophobia. You've got a platform like YouTube that has a lot of extremist content on there. So what do we do about this? How do we counter it? How do we stand up to it? How do we push back and say, no, this is not okay? Well, one of the ways that's very popular, it's growing in popularity, that's recommended by experts, is something called counter speech, right? And what the point behind counter speech is it's sort of it's any message that will challenge or debunk extremism, stereotypes, hate speech. All right. So the idea here is that it can be any type of art form. Really, it could be a video. It could be satire. Um, it could be storytelling, personal experience. It could be music or song lyrics. It can be a picture. I mean, there's any number of types of counter speech. The idea behind it, though, is we want to utilize the power in numbers on social media to our advantage. We want to utilize things like hashtags. We want to utilize things like groups on Facebook that we can post in to gain and garner that support and that energy behind our comments of positivity, welcoming others, not just accepting others. We want to welcome diversity, right? So, strength in numbers can be a huge advantage here. Getting in the comments and going back and forth with people, you're sort of on your own and it's you against them. And that can be, even though you're fighting the good fight, that can be damaging to you as well. It can be emotionally, mentally draining. It can also make you a target. It would be the equivalent of sort of going on like a KKK website and just posting comments. You're going to have people coming after you online, and it can make you a target then. Whereas if you're promoting positivity in numbers, you're using the right hashtags, you're posting in these groups, you're going to get that organic positive energy behind you where it's not going to be quite you against the other person. You're going to have a whole group behind you. And the message that we're trying to promote here and we're focusing on is positivity. We're talking about inclusion. We're talking about welcoming, embracing our diversity, right? What's the best way to counter? I mean, xenophobia at its core is a fear or distrust of something that you don't know anything about, that's foreign to you. What's the best way to combat that? Gain a larger perspective on the world. Whether that's, I know COVID makes traveling tough right now, but as we eventually do, we will come out the other side of it, go to museums, visit places that you normally aren't as familiar with, eat food from places that you're not as familiar with. Take every opportunity you can to engage with people who are different from you. It's the only way that you're going to learn. You find out things that you like that you would have otherwise not been exposed to. So in trying to counter hate speech, xenophobia, extremism, the best way to fight it is with broadening our own horizons. So that when we see it, we can jump in and say, no, 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 we welcome diversity. Look at what I've learned. Look what I've experienced. Look what the world has taught me. And if we do that, we can cut down on and seriously fight back against the extremism, the hate speech that we find online. Guys, I hope that this was helpful for you. Please tune in for Teen Talk for more of these conversations as we continue to find ways of welcoming, encouraging, embracing our diversity, and making our world a better place. Thanks so much for stopping by, guys. I'll see you guys soon. Take care.